Stay away from men in prison. They are not dating material. They have absolutely nothing to offer you. And most of the time, they've committed crimes that are so heinous that you don't need to be a part of that, period. Especially if you have kids. There's nothing there for you, right? Also, like, I hear a lot of women, they've got their exception to the rule stories, and oh, he's getting out and is working out, da 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 da. First of all, you don't know that woman. You don't know if she's lying. You don't know how true that is. You don't even know if it's a real relationship. And honestly, a lot of these guys get out of prison and they've been in survival mode for so long. They need you for shelter, for food, for transportation. And as soon as they get on their feet, if they ever get on their feet, they out of there. They're going to go get the woman that they truly want to be with, who does not remind them of being locked up, putting money on their books, and being at the most vulnerable point in their life, right? So also, you got to think about it. That's kind of selfish of you to think that you're going to have something with an inmate. That man has to get out, because there's no telling how long he's sentenced. He's got to get out. He's still probably going to be on papers. So your life is on pause while he pulls his life together. He's got to try to find work, if he can find work, or start a business. All of those things take time. So while you have these dreams and fantasies in your head of, oh, we're going to get married and we're going to have babies and we're going to get a house and we're going to travel and we're going to do this. If that man has been locked up for a period of time, he's not coming out just to continue your fantasy. So the reason for this rant is I am in a Facebook group for Black women. And I came across a post the other night that it started out very funny. This lady matched with a guy on Facebook dating, and she screenshots it, and it's got his name, age, location. And then he put incarcerated. Like, he didn't spell incarcerated. So the girls were having a good giggle, but they were like, hold on, how do you spell incarcerated? Because this ain't it. So, everybody going in, they joking, they laughing, kikiing it up, right? A woman comments, he killed my niece. And I'm like, oh, snap. So a few more comments, and she's sharing the story. So now I'm intrigued. So she later makes, so I didn't see the original post. I saw the aunt's post first that said he killed my niece. So I'm reading her post, the aunt, and she said, ladies, don't get got. He killed my niece. I have no remorse about telling her story. He killed his baby's mother. May he live the rest of his life regretting the rest of his life. I said what I said. And so she includes the screenshot that the girl had originally posted about matching with him on Facebook dating, and then she posts some articles of the crime. So I'm like, now, wait a minute, I got to go check this out. So then her aunt also made another post in the group, and she said her name was Angelique, a poet, dancer, HBCU student, mother, and queen. She was killed by her baby's father. Queens, don't let the smooth talk, muscular build, and cocoa grease skin fool you. He is a monster, an incarcerated monster. He killed his baby's mother. Let her life serve as a purpose for all queens using these dating apps to be careful. Fly high, damn Angelique. Damn Angelique is what her Facebook name was. But her name is Angelique Smith. And when I saw this, it went from kiki haha to damn. It's sad. So, and that's why I'm saying, like, men in prison, they're just not it. Like, find you somebody else. So when I went to go look up this crime, because I'm like deeply invested now, this is what I found. So Tyree, his name is Tyree Campor. And it touched home for me because this happened in Mississippi and my folks are from Mississippi. So I was like, what in the world? So let me read you this article from WBLT3. Campor sentenced for killing mother of his child. Jackson, Mississippi, Mississippi News Now. She wanted to start a company called Fly Is Forever, and she was starting to learn photography, says Valerie Thibodeau, speaking about her daughter, 22-year-old Jackson State University art student Angelique Smith. Smith had dated fellow student Tyree Campor, and the two had a 9-month-old baby named King together. But Thibodeau had convinced Smith to break up with him. He had drugs all in his apartment. He was just breaking all the rules, she says. He came up behind her, called her name, she turned her head, and he shot her. In March 2014, Smith was shot in the head in the courtyard of the Belvedere Terrace apartments in Jackson. She had lived there with her baby in a separate apartment from Campor, but she had been dating another man. Smith lived for 3 months in the hospital before she died. In court Thursday, emotions were laid bare. I will never see my daughter again, Smith's father told Judge Bill Gowan through tears. Smith's family directed many of their comments directly at Campor, who received 30 years in prison for second-degree murder. Her family has been changed forever. The anger, the hurt, the disappointment, the unfairness is excruciating. It's indescribable, says her aunt, Coronella Robertson. The talented artist with the world on her shoulder can never be replaced, but Thibodeau is pleased with the sentence. I'm content that he can't do that to anybody else's daughter, she says. Smith was buried on her son's first birthday. Y'all, when I read that part, the mama in me just... That is so sad. Like, now that baby got to grow up, and his birthday is going to be marked by, that was the day that his mother was buried. And she was killed by his own father. It is this, y'all see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these men are in prison for violent crimes. What in the world do you think would happen to you? This is sick. And then y'all, okay, so just to back it up. So Angelique was shot in March 2014. So Campor was originally charged with aggravated assault because she did not die. His charges got upgraded to second-degree murder because she died in 2014 of June. So he was originally sentenced to 35 years, but 5 was suspended. So that's where you get the 30 years from. What really made me want to look this up, he was charged for what they call depraved heart murder. And what that is, Wiki says a depraved heart murder, also known as depraved indifference murder, is a type of murder where an individual acts with a depraved indifference to human life and where such acts results in a death, despite that individual not explicitly intending to kill. In a depraved heart murder, defendants commit an act even though they know their act runs an unusually high risk of causing death or serious bodily harm to a person. If the risk of death or bodily harm is great enough, ignoring it demonstrates a depraved indifference to human life, and the resulting death is considered to have been committed with a malice afterthought. In some states, depraved heart killings constitute second-degree murder, while in others, the act would be charged with wanton murder, varying degrees of manslaughter or third-degree murder. If no death results, such an act would generally constitute reckless endangerment, sometimes known as culpable negligence, and possibly other crimes such as assault. I had never heard of depraved murder. True crime is not my thing, I'll listen in on it, but that phrase just really freaks me out. To know that this woman, I mean, this is cold. Like, this is the coldest thing. Like, this woman is the mother of your child, and for me, just hearing that somebody can take another person's life, it freaks me out. Like, I have this thing around murder that just freaks me out. So this was another article. This is from WAPT 16 ABC in Jackson. It just says, a man convicted in a shooting that killed his girlfriend has been sentenced to 30 years in prison. Tyree Campbell was convicted last month of depraved heart murder. A Hinds County judge sentenced him Thursday. Angelique Smith, 21, was shot in the head during an exchange of gunfire between Campbell and another man. The shooting happened last year at Belvedere Terrace Apartments in Jackson. Smith died a few months. So they're saying that there was another man, but I don't know. Nobody is really saying like who that other man is. Her mother mentioned in that first article that, I'm sorry, maybe it wasn't her mother, but somebody was mentioning that Angelique was, now dating another man. So I don't know if it was like a love triangle thing or whatever, but these men from prison are not it. Like, but when you think about the more popular, or this sounds sick even saying it, the more popular murderers in our history, like Chris Watts had a whole fan club of women ready to date and marry him. Like, how sick is that? And if y'all don't remember Chris Watts murdered his pregnant wife. She was pregnant at the time, and their 2 daughters, and just discarded their bodies in a random field. And this man had a fan club of women ready and willing and eager to date and marry him. And then you got, who was it? Like, didn't Ted Bundy have fan clubs and women that were wanting to sleep with him? Like, y'all, this is sick. And as women, y'all, don't look at a man in prison. And especially be careful, because something else that really caught my eye, this man is currently in prison and he is on a Facebook dating app. I know that, I get it. They have phones and PS5s and all that in prison, but why are they allowed to be on dating apps? And now I'm assuming he spelled incarcerated the way that he did to trip up the algorithm for Facebook dating so that they would not block his profile. But honestly, it's going to be up to you ladies to do your due diligence when you see stuff like this. When you see a man wearing all white, just know it's something on the back that say Department of Corrections in whatever county or state or whatever he belongs to. It's on the back of that shirt. If that background looks like concrete walls or anything like that, that man is in prison and he is not available to date. I don't care how many letters y'all are writing each other, how many false promises that he's making. It ain't happening. The women that do get their happily ever after with a man that's been in prison, those women are exceptions to the rules. Their situations are exceptions to the rule. That percentage, I'm willing to bet, is so low of the success of these relationships where the man has served time in prison. I'm telling you right now, it ain't gonna work out. If you think you're gonna be the exception to the rule, just go and tell yourself, no, I'm not going to be the exception to the rule. Let me go and cut this off. I'm telling y'all right now, if you have a man that is involved in illegal activity and the judge breaks y'all up, you need to break up that relationship. Actually, you don't even have to do it. The state is doing it for you. Leave that man to his own consequences and move on with your life. This, especially if you have children. Especially, I saw something, I don't know if y'all saw it on TikTok the other day, or it was a while back. This woman, I think it was highlights from some show. It wasn't Love After Lockup. It was one of those. Anyway, the woman was dating a man in prison and she has 2 kids. This man was in prison for murdering, I think him and his girlfriend murdered her parents. And this woman is dating him in prison. And the woman was actively going through the process of getting him to legally adopt her children. She was also moving around, like when he would get transferred to different facilities, she was moving around to be near him for visitation. Like, you're really going to put your children in harm's way for the sake of romance or a romantic relationship. And this is why I'm always telling y'all, please decenter men, please decenter romantic relationships, because as it stands, the more that y'all center these relationships and you center men, you do not make good decisions. There is no reason for you to be moving your children around cross state lines and trying to get a criminal, a violent criminal, to legally adopt your children. What in the heck does he killed his parents or his girlfriend's parents? Don't you seem to understand? And we've heard the stories about how some of these men, they'll get out because this Kamport guy, if I'm not mistaken, somebody said he's getting out in 2045. So if they did it once, what is the likelihood that they will kill again? I mean, let's be so effing for real. Like, but I'm so glad that this aunt jumped in on this post and was like, hey, no, this is not the move. Like, this man is a killer. And she's totally okay with like people like spreading the awareness and spreading her niece's story because it needs to be spread. But y'all, I would never deter you from marriage. I say that in almost every video. But I'm going to tell you right now, men in prison are not it. All right. So I don't know. Drop a comment. Are you a part of any of these Facebook groups? I encourage you to please get a part of them, because every now and then you'll find stuff like this, or you'll see other people's dating stories or marriage stories, and it can save you from some things, or it can help you with whatever you got going on. But please get into community with other women. There are a lot of people that shit on the "Are we dating the same guy" groups, but I'm telling y'all right now, those groups are needed. I know the men don't like them, but these groups are needed. I think I told y'all a while back, one of the groups that I was in, one of the ladies in that group was actually murdered by a man that somebody was asking about. So do with that what you will, but drop a comment. Tell me what you think about this. This story freaked me out just because the fact that that's his son's mother. The baby was literally only, when they buried her, it was on his first birthday. I mean, and then he did it so gruesomely, like he shot her in the head. But yeah, rest in peace to that angel. She was a college student, as y'all can see, you know, or hear, very creative. I took a look at her Facebook page. Like, she was good at what she was doing or working towards. So please be safe. Stay away from prisoners. If you have recently matched with a prisoner, block him. If you're currently dating one, block him. If you're currently married to one, assess your situation and divorce him. But above all, just please be safe and take care of yourself.